Welcome back to talknorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. talknorth.com is powered by Bite Squad. Go to bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. Use the promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. Talk North gets you your first delivery free. It's a reunion show. Cheryl Reeve is back in Minnesota, back in her office. I'm joining her in her office, and we will do a kind of a up-close and personal version of the Cheryl Reeve Show, part of the talknorth.com podcast network. Thanks to successfulmarketinggroup.com and Gloria Ramsey, her company, for supporting the show. Thanks also to Bite Squad. Again, use the promo code TALKNORTH. That's if it's one word, TALKNORTH, for your first delivery free at Bite Squad. And we are trying to form a long-term relationship with Bite Squad. I know all of Cheryl's very loyal listeners will help us out with that, and we do appreciate it. So you're back from Spain, you're back from all these places, and you're about to leave again. Why don't you just sum up your travels, past and future, for me?
Wow, sum them up. Gosh, a long month. The beginning of September. It was a lot of, probably 10 days or so of stateside training for USA basketball, and as I reflect on that, it was just a great time getting to know other players around the league, and just realizing, as you go abroad and the lengths that other countries go to prepare their teams for something like the World Cup. It's an annual, pretty intense training for those teams, and we don't get a lot of time, to kind of formulate the roster and for Dawn Staley, the coach, to be able to, kind of get her hands in there and really get what she wants. So it happens very, very quickly. And so it takes a great deal of commitment from the players, takes focus. It just kind of takes, right away when you get together, you say it's all about winning. That's the only thing you're thinking about, whatever I have to do, whatever role that is. And so it's really fun to be around, and, it's fun to see which players are able to adapt possibly to something different, maybe than what they do for their WNBA teams or their teams overseas. So, all in all, just a tremendous experience, and ultimately came home with the gold. And, that feeling, when you get to the end of that month, and then all of a sudden, the clock is ticking down, and you're going, we did it. 'Cause it is not easy. I know that everyone thinks that it is. We are the most talented country in the world. There's no doubt about it. But talent alone is not why teams are successful, and so it's something we're really proud of, regardless of what people think of that it should be easy for us or not. It's a tremendous amount of pressure. This is the first time ever that the USA national team, the women's basketball national team, has won 3 in a row of the World Cup. So if you can imagine, this is something that feather in the cap of Dawn Staley, because she did it without players that for example, Gino had in his last go around. You don't have a Lindsay Whalen as a backup, or Simone Augustus. You don't have Maya Moore. You don't have Sylvia Fowles, and so you had to really adapt to the new team, and to pull it off was really a great feat.
So gold medal, where does this one rank in your career achievements?
Well, gold medal, it's the third one. And I was on the airplane. I was like a little kid. I wore my medal around my neck. Yeah. On the airplane. Yeah. And I've had it nearby, for most of the week. It's something you don't take for granted. It's not something that everybody gets to do. And it just, like I said, while it is a commitment, there is a sacrifice to it. At the end of the day, we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, and to add a gold medal, to rings and other things is really special.
What's Dawn's strength as a coach?
Well, I think Dawn has done this before as a player, and that's what struck me the most is, and often what I thought about when she was standing there was, I just remember her so much as a player, donning the USA uniform, being the flag bearer. So she just epitomizes USA basketball. She's done it for so long. She understands it. And I would say probably Dawn's humility. This was a person who goes, I coach college basketball. Most of these players are pro players. And so, she had no problem in accepting information from, say, a Sue or a Dee or, myself or Dan, just to kind of, bridge the gap that exists terminology-wise between college, college teams and the pro teams and the way that we do things. And so she was eager to oblige where she could, and in the name, again, just of sacrificing whatever we needed to do for everyone to be in a great position to be successful. That's what we were all willing to do, and that's the epitome of Dawn Staley.
Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. As we always remind you, if you can download before you listen, that does help us out. It also is the better listening experience. If you want to advertise for this show or any shows across the talknorth.com platform, which is growing rapidly, by the way, you can email me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. We had about 140,000 listens last month, which is a record for the network. So we keep growing each show, and as a collective, this show has been a blast to do. It's one of my favorite shows to do. And so I really recommend you subscribing to this as well on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Have you talked to Waylon this week now that she's rolling?
We messaged a little bit. When you're overseas, and not to say that you aren't aware of other things going on, because obviously we can stay connected in the world today. But my focus was obviously elsewhere, and when I returned here, you have that moment where you start reading about people starting their seasons, and I think, oh my goodness, Lindsay's starting her first day, and so I reached out and just told her, hope that her first day went well, and we bantered back and forth a little bit, and I think it was something to the effect of she was thankful how much time she still had left until that first opener, because they had a lot to do. So I'm hoping to pop over there, in the few days that I'm in town over the next few weeks.
No rush on this, and of course, if I was more thoughtful about this stuff, I would have said this off the air, but we should actually get over there and do a show with Lindsay. I know you're cramped right now for time, but it's sometime the next year.
I think it's a great idea.
We'll just go pop over there and do a show with Lindsay, and she'd be a blast.
I think she'd enjoy that.
Absolutely. How are you doing in terms of fatigue? Because I think nothing wears me out as much as travel.
Yeah, I like traveling. I didn't like the delays that we had when we left Dulles to try to get over to Europe. We had some bad travel there. That tires you out. But I'd say at this point, I feel about as good as I've felt in a long time. Right. So you have some downtime over there. You have your practice, and it's very regimented. You got your meals and all that you do together, and so you see a lot of each other. But it also, not being the head coach, allows you to kind of think differently. I can sprinkle in other things. I've spent a lot of time just reflecting on our Lynx season, looking at the season ahead, and so I've had a lot of time to kind of, I guess, maybe process / heal, if you will, and just kind of, I felt like when I got back, it was good to get away and dive into something else, and then I just felt really ready when we landed here back in Minneapolis to kind of hit the ground running, and I feel good.
If you own a business, you just want to provide the best service you can, and marketing is vital to build your business, but it's also overwhelming and confusing. Successful Marketing Group is passionately committed to businesses, helping them get found, get customers, and build dreams. We understand your problems and truly want to help you be successful, providing digital marketing packages with proven results. Go to successfulmarketinggroup.com, just like it sounds, /Cheryl Reeve for a free 45-minute audit and action plan. SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com /Cheryl Reeve. And just so you get it right, CHERYLREEVE. And thanks to Lori Ramsey for supporting this program. One of the cool things about running my own business has been I've met so many cool people who run their own businesses and just want to they want to be on the right side of history. They want to be successful financially, but they also want to help people. We have great sponsors all across the network, and Lori is right up there with the best of them. Let's do some Twitter questions. We usually don't do this. We've done a lot of phone shows lately with your travel, and we've been just kind of talking about your team and everything. We have some really good Twitter questions and comments I wanted to get to for some of our loyal listeners. From our friend Addie, who comes out to the live shows. She just quotes you. If it's on TMZ, you know it's true.
I did say that, didn't I?
You said that. And as Addie says, to be fair, it pretty much is the truth.
It's true.
They're usually right.
It's true. I have rarely found them to be wrong, at least at the root of it. Maybe not all the details are correct, but if it's on TMZ, it's likely there's some truth to it.
Yeah, it's true. And of course, Addie also points out that and I've messed up her name before. Siessa, I think her name is. She comes out at the shows too, and I'm so sometimes I can be really bad with names. I hope I got it right this time. They're volunteering Siessa for a show on the network, because we talked about more diversity last time. We'll have some talks about that. We'll get into that.
That sounds great. The more voices, the better.
Exactly. From Addie, a question from Addie. My question is a two-parter. One, when will y'all do another live show? We're working on that. We also want Cheryl's travels to calm down a little bit so we can have the time to do that right. And number two, when will y'all have CSE on? Okay. We have a candidate.
Got it covered.
We have a candidate, and we will have to have some discussions about that. From Christy Peterson, if Glenn Taylor called and asked you to coach the Timberwolves, what are the chances you would do it? Could you coach both the Lynx and Timberwolves?
Wow. Well, first of all, if Glenn Taylor calls you, you take the call and anything that he asks you to do. I would say this, I would do anything for Glenn Taylor. It would be inappropriate for us to talk about, obviously the Timberwolves. I think, what would be easier to say would be is if Glenn Taylor had a franchise somewhere else, in the NBA that had an opening, if Glenn Taylor called me, I would do anything for Glenn Taylor. And if he thought that I would be the best leader for the team, I would certainly do anything that he asked me to do. I think it would be challenging to coach both in the NBA and the WNBA, clearly. And I get the idea, that you're saying if you have an NBA franchise and a W in the same city, that would just be a lot for any one person.
Absolutely. From Baseball Card Addict Jenny, pretty good handle. What is one moment with the Lynx you will forever remember most?
Oh, just one. Wow. That's a tough one. Today, our actually on WNBA's Twitter account, they posted some highlights from the 2011 championship and watching Simone Augustus. And, just fond memories. I think what it took me back to was our first championship. And, could I attribute it to, to just one memory? No. There are just so many. I'm lucky. When I think about the 7-year run that this team had, and there are just so many things along the way, memories that I'll take with me forever. And I hope to be able to write a book someday about all of those things. And, I think my memory most is just, as a group, the core group, I'll just say the core four, that just how amazing, they were as teammates and people and what they've done, for this community, in creating awareness for the WNBA and the passion, and that you can't go anywhere without people, saying thank you, for what the Lynx have done. So I really can't, just pinpoint one memory. It's really been a special time.
I'm going to actually chime in on this for a couple of reasons. Number one thing I found out doing this podcast, all the other podcasts, people either listen or they don't listen because they know what my A job is. I write for the Star Tribune. I write a sports column. It's supposed to be an opinion-based column, so I drive a lot of people crazy. One thing that's really interesting about the audience for this podcast, I keep running into people who think that this is my A job.
Right.
That, like talking to you is my A job. And it's my A job in terms of enjoyment, but it's not my A job in terms of, employment.
Yeah.
But so I've met a lot of people, including we have a mutual friend who now lives in my building. I'll be telling you about later. And they said, they asked me, oh, do you do anything else? And it's so funny. So I'm going to introduce myself to your audience right now. I actually write a column at the Star Tribune. My name is Jim Suhan. And if somebody asked me what my favorite Lynx memory was, I don't always get to cover you guys in the finals, which disappoints me. The one time they sent me to the finals was that year in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I go down there, and Waylon had always been incredibly polite and very nice, and we'd always had good off-the-record chats. But, usually when I turn on the recorder, she kind of went into cautious mode, right? So I'm covering you guys in Atlanta, and I tell Lindsay before the deciding game, I said, listen, I don't want to jinx you or anything, but if you guys win, I know I won't get much of a chance. You're going to be partying after the game. I know I'm not going to get a chance to talk to you the next day. And I think it happened on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a nice big piece in the Sunday paper about Lindsay, right? So I said, listen, after you're done partying, after you're done with the big celebration, will you just pop out and talk to me for 10 minutes in the locker rooms? So you guys win. everybody does the routine post-game interviews. You guys go in the room and spray champagne and have a blast. And about 1 o'clock, she comes out, and Aaron Seahusen, who now works with